You
Deepak,
can,
one question. Power BI service and Power BI website is both are same, right?
yes, Power BI is not a website, right? What you are like, it's a service. The
Yes, yes,
app.powerbi.com, I think you are talking about, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
Microsoft cloud environment that is called Power BI service.
Power BI service and Power BI website. I mean, I'm asking both are same.
What do you mean by, first of all, Power BI website? There is no
Uh,
term in Power BI website. There, nothing like that. That I think you are referring Power BI service, which is app.powerbi.com, where you need to log in, right? That is called Power BI service, which is the Microsoft cloud environment. That is not called Power BI website.
okay, okay, Deepak.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, please go ahead.
Okay, let's start for today's session as well. Let me share my screen. Just confirm me if you are able to see my screen. Let me
Yes,
also
yes.
open Power BI desktop file as well, which we were, on which we were working yesterday. Let it open. So meanwhile it is opening, let me also inform you, educate you regarding composite models, right? This is also, people will ask in interviews, have you worked on composite model? If not, like, what are composite model, right? They can ask this particular thing from you. So what is a composite model is basically like, I told you yesterday, we have different modes of connectivity available with Power BI, right? You can connect via import mode, right? And you can connect via direct query mode as well. So if you are having multiple sources, I'm not talking about two excels, right? Let's suppose you imported some of your data from one excel through import mode, and another one is also an import mode, right? You connected through any any particular excel through import mode. So there are two excels via import mode from multiple sources, right? But both are in import mode. That is not called composite model. Okay, what is a composite model? Well, let's suppose you have connected one of your table, one of your the data sources with import mode, another one would be direct query mode. If you have done that, that is called composite model. Okay, and there's one more thing. You cannot if you have live connection, if you are connected with a live connection, you cannot connect with any other mode. Does that clear?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, live connect. If you are connecting with any particular source and you are connected via live connection, you will not be able to connect with the import mode, neither direct query mode. But yes, from few previous releases of Microsoft, Power BI updates, you can now, let's suppose there's some requirement, because earlier what was the thing, if you are connected with a live connection, you, let's suppose you created any SAS queue, right? SAS queue, and you there is just one option to connect a live connection with that mode, right? Because direct query is not possible over there. Okay, so in that case, let's suppose in order to create your report dynamic, maybe you cannot create some of the disconnected table in your model, because it will not allow you to create a local model in a report where it is connected with a live connection. Because there were some scenarios where, because shared data set is also a connection through which you can connect via live connection, right? What are shared data set? I talked about it earlier as well. You created any particular report, you publish that report into the workspace, right? And if you are using the data set of that particular work of that report which is published in the workspace for your other reporting, right? So that you will not have to schedule the refresh for all of your reports, because how, because your report is now connected with the live connection with the model which is already there published in the workspace. So if that model will be refreshed, it will reflect the changes in your report as well which you created with the shared data set. But there you cannot create separate tables like a dim calendar table. Let's suppose a calendar table or dim date table is not available in the shared data set, then you cannot create a dim calendar table or any of the table which you want in the model, because you cannot create local model over there. So with few previous releases now you are able to do that, but you have to convert that live connection to direct query connection, and then you can create if you want to create any table in your report, you can do that. But you have to first convert your live connection to direct query mode, right? Earlier it was not possible. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's clear that composite model are, let's suppose you have connected one of your data sources via import mode, another with direct query mode. Those are called composite model. Okay. And why composite model? Why should we use composite model? What is the use of it? So there is just one reason. Let's suppose you can use, as it is written also, you can use direct query mode for your fact tables that need to be updated on daily or more frequently, and for the dimension table you can use the import mode that is not updated frequently in the back end, right? By doing so, what we can do, we can improve the performance of the report refresh frequency. This is the main reason of going with composite model. So how it is working is, you can consider a situation, right, where you are getting sales data on a regular basis, on daily basis, right? So you are getting that data on daily basis, and that data is, you are getting the transactional data, you can say. However, the dimensions data, like let's suppose you are distributing, you are working in a you're working for some retailer, something like that. That retailer information will not change, right? Those things will not change, that this is the salesperson, these are those retailers, their information will not change. If that will change, that would happen in a month, or maybe in 2 months or 3 months in quarterly basis, right? Because you have to you are giving your products to those retailers only, right? So but the sales numbers you will get on daily basis, right? So in that case, what we will do, we'll import for the retailer information, we can have we can import their data, because that would not change frequently. But for our sales data, we can have direct query mode, we can connect to the source with the direct query mode, so that let's suppose if there is any change, right, it will be reflected automatically, we'll not have to refresh for the same, right? Got my point?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. Can you explain me again?
Actually voice is very low. What did you say?
No, sir. Can you explain it more?
Okay, so let's suppose there are two tables, right? There is fact table and your fact table, which contains the actual figures, the, like, let's suppose sales information, quantity information, right? Profit information. Profit is basically derived from your quantity and cost, right? So that is changing on frequent basis. On a particular day you sold 10 pieces, let's suppose, right? Next day you sold 50 pieces, 1,000 pieces, and so on, right? But the people with whom you are basically selling those products, right, those people will remain constant, right? You are not adding any new retailers to your basically to your business, you can say, right? And if you are adding it, you are doing it on maybe on quarterly basis or maybe on a monthly basis. Okay, in that case you don't want the you don't want the retailers data to be refreshed on regular basis, on daily basis, right? Because there is no need to do that, right? However, your sales data, your transactional data should be updated on daily basis. Okay, or maybe you are giving you are supplying some of the materials on hourly basis, then it should be updated. And if there is any requirement to update that data on hourly basis, someone is seeing, right? In that case, you can connect your sales data with direct query mode, because it will give you the real time updates. However, the retailer table, because that is not updated on frequent basis, for that you can connect it via import mode, right? Whenever you see that there is new retailer came, right, you added someone as the retailer, you right, you are expanding your business, then in that case you just need to refresh that table, because it is it is via import mode. You'll not have to refresh the complete model.
Okay.
Is that fine now?
Yeah.
Okay. And now what are relationship in Power BI? So we can cover these things once we load the data into the Power BI. So let me now move on to the Power Query editor, which we were discussing yesterday. You guys are clear with the parameters, right? Which we discussed yesterday. How to create parameters, why should we create parameters?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, can you
Yes.
tell me, like, Shivani, why do we create parameter? What's the use of it? What is the significance?
To find a uh, particular uh, particular country or region in this.
No, it could be anything.
Yeah.
I have just given you example, right?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
suppose if you want to,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
So what I was saying that yesterday as well, it was just an example. Let's suppose I
Yes,
don't
sir.
want to take the complete data, right? I want
Yes.
to restrict my data at some level, right? I can also do
So,
for person.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How it is different from filters and slicers?
uh, Parameters, like whatever the data we have filtered in Power BI service, right? Here we can use parameters in Power BI.
Okay, that is not in service, that is in Power BI desktop, right? Because Power BI service is later on part, right? First of all, you can also implement those slicers or filters on your Power BI desktop file, right? And in Power BI query editor, okay, fine. How it is different from filters and slicers is because if you are passing filters or slicers in your Power BI report, right? What it will do, you already have the data for all the reason in the data set, but what you are doing there, by passing a filter or slicer, you are just restricting to show the information of that particular region to your selection. However, if you are passing parameters in Power Query editor, you are restricting Power BI to take the complete data. It will take the data for just your parameter which you have passed, right? It will not import the complete data into the Power BI desktop as the data set.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's move on to refresh preview, right? Because we already discussed this thing. If you want to create new parameter, just like we did yesterday, you can click over here. If you want to edit the parameter which we have created, select this option, manage parameter, right? You can simply change if you want to change the parameter, or maybe you can edit the parameter from here as well. right? Because the manage parameter which will get in the Power BI desktop, from there you will get a different screen. Okay, and what is this refresh preview? That is because that is basically used to, if you want to refresh the schema of the table. Let's suppose you in the people table. Okay, let's suppose over here you have a person information, you have region information, from which region it belongs, right? You would also have their personal information. Let's suppose till now we are just showing two columns. Let's suppose in future one column will be added as a person address, right? Then in that case you have to first refresh the schema of the, that particular table. Because what Power BI or what Power Query editor, because let's suppose if we add new column over here, right? Power BI, if you run the refresh from Power BI desktop or maybe in the Power BI service, it will not add the newly added column into the report. Fine. So what you have to do, you just need to open Power Query editor from Power BI desktop file. You need to refresh the preview to add that particular column in the schema of this. So by the next time when you try to refresh it, it will add the column in the field section. Okay, once you refresh the schema, if you then see over here, you will get person, region and address. Got my point? Why do we need to refresh the preview?
No, please explain more.
Okay, let's suppose currently we have just two columns over here, right?
Yes.
Okay, suddenly there is some change in the structure and client is now providing person, region along with address, and he wants that address column to be used in the reporting.
Okay.
Right? So then in that case, what the issue, if you have published the report into the Power BI workspace, into the Power BI service, right, in your workspace, if you refresh the report from there, right, nothing will break because there is no change in the existing column name, right? Person is not now person name. So if there is any change in the column name, earlier it was like person, now they are giving like person name, then in that case you will not be able to refresh the data set from Power BI service, because there is a change in the structure, right? There's a change in the name of the predefined column. Because if you can see, these are some steps which are recorded over here: source, navigation, change type. So this change type step, if you see the the what you call it, the M code over here, the step over here, you can see that it is searching people sheet. Okay, it is okay, over here. Let's do from here. Okay, so if you can see person, now they are having person name, but if you can see there, as per the step, it will search, this step will search for the person, right, rather than person name. So in our new file we are getting person name over there, so this will break. In that case we need to cross this step and perform this step again. But yes, let's suppose they haven't made change to the names of the column names earlier. What they have done, they have introduced a new column, so the refresh, there would be no issue to the refresh in Power BI service. Okay, because it is getting the same schema as per it. But yes, if let's suppose we have a requirement from the client, hey, I have introduced that column, I want to see that in the report, right? Why it is not available in the report, even if we are refreshing the data set regularly? Then you need to download the file from there, or if you have a copy of the file with you, you just need to click on the refresh preview. Okay, why it is grayed out now? Because we just refreshed it now, right? Something like that. Preview refresh was cancelled. We are disable downloading in the background. That is okay. So why it is needed to refresh the preview is because let's suppose you added new column, right? And what we are doing by this, let's suppose there are n number of columns, and in future there are n plus 1 number of columns, then we need to refresh the schema. It will refresh the schema. Hey, now we have the new column, and now you have to, if you are doing the refresh of the data set, now you have to include the new column as well in your report, right? That is why it is needed. This is the use of this button. And if you see over here, what it will do, it will just refresh the preview of your current selected table. If you select this, refresh all, it will refresh the preview of all the tables which is there. Okay, did you got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so what's there in the properties is like, if you want to this is basically, you can give the name over here as well. If you want to give the name over here as well, you can do that. If you want to add some description, that if you hover over there, right, in this particular table, if you put something over here in the description, you will see that particular description if you hover over to the table. Okay, and these two things are also there: enable load to report and include in report refresh. You can also, if you right click over here, you can get these details as well. Like if you want to copy the table, right, delete the table, rename the table. Enable load, what it is like, if you click this particular option, if you, there is a tick over here, what it will do, once you will click on close and apply, this table will be available over here in the field section. Okay, this will be loaded as a data set. If you uncheck this, you have the table over here, but that would not be loaded to your final reporting. Let me show you how. Let me unselect this. Okay, if I click on continue, click on close and apply, see we have orders table now, that will be removed. Okay, so if you don't want to do reporting on a particular table, you can do that particular step. You don't want to load it as a data set. Why we are doing, why this is as an option available over here, because let's suppose you don't want this particular table to be loaded. Why you are using this table? In order to drive other information, right? That is the reason you want this table over here, because you are using this table, let's suppose, to merge with one table to get the data, and you are loading that particular table, the final table, the output table, and then in that case you don't want this table. And what is the other option, which is include in report refresh, which is something like, let's suppose if you uncheck this in the service, or in the maybe in the Power BI desktop as well, if you don't want to refresh the data of this particular report, you can uncheck this. Then if you trigger the refresh either over here or in the Power BI service, it will not trigger, it will not refresh this particular table, right? Let's suppose this is the manual table which is created by you, then in that case you can simply uncheck this thing, because the manual table is being configured by you, right? You did it manually, right? No one is changing it. Then in that case you need not have to do it. Okay, got my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and these are some of the points, like if you want to create the duplicate table, right, you can do that. Rather than copy and pasting the table, you can simply click on duplicate. It will create a duplicate copy of the table, right? Reference, if you want to take the reference of the table, right? So whatever steps you have taken over there, right, that would also, the table will be created with the last step. Let me show you. Okay, right. So if you can see, there are 1 2 3 4 5 steps, right? If I create the reference of this table, what it will do, there's another table created. Now it started from the source, right? And if I do this, duplicate, right? If you can see, this is my table, right? These are the 5 steps. In duplicate, it will duplicate the table, it will duplicate the steps also. Like you can see the same level of steps over here, but over here it will take, what it will do, it will take whatever table I'm getting over here after filtered rows step, it will take that table as a reference, the final, and it will take that table as the source, right? This is the difference between duplicate and reference over there. Got my point? Or you have any
Yes,
doubt?
Deepak,
Mm-hmm.
here whatever the changes I do in fact table, I mean in real orders, not in order 2, order 3, reference in duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there is I mean whatever the changes, those are all reflected in reference and duplicate also.
In duplicate it will appear, right? In reference it will not appear, but yes, whatever table you are getting on the last step, right, it will take that particular table, right? Got my point? So this is the source, right? This is the navigation. All these four steps would be done by Power BI itself, these four, right? I haven't done any kind of steps over here. You can see, I think I have done to this. Let me see this. Okay, that's it. That is why what I did, I passed parameters, right? I filtered the data on the basis of parameter. So these four steps would be done by Power BI automatically. Like it will go to the source, like it will create steps automatically, right? When you are fetching data from any particular source, right? Navigation, it will change the type automatically and promote the headers, right? It will do by its own. If not, then you have to take those steps. Okay, in reference what it will do, because if you can see there's a different table, right? The structure is different now. Return, order ID and reason is over here, right? In the next step it got promoted as header. So what it is doing, it is taking this particular output as the input of that table in the reference, right? The steps are already created and it didn't mention it over the applied steps, because it is taking the output of the last step and taking it as input of the reference table. However, for the duplicate one, it will just copy the steps and the table over there. Does that clear your question?
Not sure, Deepak.
Okay, what's the
I'm not
doubt?
getting, I mean uh, I didn't get difference between duplicate and reference.
You didn't get what?
Why we will use duplicate and reference?
It depends on the scenario. Like you can use any of those things, but there's a difference. This is the difference only. You can either use, referencing the column, like referencing the table as well, or to creating a duplicate copy of the table.
Okay, it depends on scenarios, right?
Yeah, and I cannot recall right now, right? But everything, for both the situation, you will get the same result. But yes, the thing is that for one, you are just, if you are copying it, right? Okay, let me give you. So let's suppose if there is any change, you do any kind of change in this particular table, in the people table, right? And if you are creating a duplicate, then you have to, let's suppose in the future you want to filter this data to any particular, let's suppose Northern Europe, right? If you change the filter over here to let's suppose another region which is Caribbean region, right? In that case, if you are taking the reference, that would automatically be changed over there in the reference table. However, for the duplicate table, you have to make that change to the duplicate table, right? That is a use scenario, you can say.
Uh,
Let me reiterate it again. Let's suppose, this is the
I mean,
people table, right? Or maybe I'll do it over here. Returns. Okay. We have this. I don't think. So let's suppose what I did this thing. Okay, now what is, if I create the duplicate of this copy? Okay, let me do it for you. This is the duplicate copy, right? And what I'll do now, I'll create a reference of this. Okay, so let's suppose if I select any other particular customer ID in future, let's suppose this one. Okay, now the changes will automatically be reflect over here. Fine. However, that would, you need to change the customer ID from here, because it will not change, because you have duplicated that that particular table. But over here, what you are doing, you are referencing the last step data. If you can see customer ID, you are just saying this, right? However, over here, you need to change the customer ID. Now got my point?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Why there is a need? So it depends on your scenario.
Okay. Okay, Deva.
Because in reference you will not have to make the change to the reference table as well. If you are making changes to the source table to which you have taken the reference, you will not have to make any change. But in the case of duplicate, you will have to, if let's suppose there is a need to change the customer ID over here, then you have to change it over here as well. You have to do another step. However, in the case of reference, you will not have to do anything, because it is taking the output of the your table.
Is this necessary to do in every report to take duplicate and reference in every
Mm,
table?
no, that depends on the scenario, right? Let's suppose if, there is a scenario you have to, you know, you have to merge two table, right?
Yes,
In
yes,
that
yes,
case,
yes,
what you
yes.
can do, you need
Okay.
this people table as well, you need order table as well, and you need to, you need a summary table as well, where you will combine people and orders table to have some details, right? In that case,
Okay.
what you can do, you can take reference of these table and then do all the changes. Because what Power Query Editor, it is a ETL tool, right?
Yes, yes.
Extraction, transform, and load. So basically all kind of transformation you have to do over here. If there is a need to do transformation, then you have to do. If not, then there is no issue on that.
Okay. Most of things in merge and append queries will use duplicate and references, right? Not
It
only.
depends. If you need,
Yes, yes, yes,
if you
yes, yes.
need
Yeah.
the people table as well, then you can create a duplicate copy, right? Or there is another option where you can have merge query. Merge queries and new as new.
Yes,
What it
yes,
will
yes,
do,
sir.
it will create. It will, if you do this particular step, it will one of your table will be lost, because it will perform the merge over there in the same table. If you do this thing, merge queries as new, both the table will remain there, and it will create a new table with the merge with the merged column, you can say merge table.
Okay. Yeah, Deepak, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
And over here, like this is advanced editor. So over here, like every step you will take, right, that will be recorded over here in this particular advanced editor. So if you know M code very well, you can also simply type your steps over here, right? Make the changes, and that would be, that would also affect the tables, the steps which you'll take over here. So if you can see, what's my last step over here, filtered rows, right? Single region. So you can see every step is being recorded over here, right? So the thing is that there are some scenarios where you have to create, first of all, you have to create a calendar table in your reporting. This is the first and foremost thing. Once you load any data over there, because that data should be reported on monthly, you have to do all kind of time analysis, time related analysis over there, right? So for that particular thing, you have to have a calendar table, right? I know that you may get date columns in your tables. Let's suppose in your return table, I think there must be a date column. No, it's not here. I think it's over here, order date and ship date, right? So you can also do reporting from here, right? But it is advised, right? And you should do it. Make it a practice to create a calendar table, Either you can do it in Power Query editor with the M code, because on internet M code is already is available, right? Or else I would say that you guys should know how to create a calendar table in the DAX, right? Then if you know that, because there are some DAX functions which you need to know, that is quite useful in creating the calendar table. So first thing, when you load the data, you load the complete data over there, you have to create a calendar table. That can be done, that you can create that calendar table in your Power BI desktop as well with the help of DAX. Else you can also create it over here. So how you can create a calendar table over here? So you just need to click on new source, right? In the blank query, you need to click over there in the blank query, right? You need to go to the advanced editor. You just have to copy and paste the code over here for the calendar, right? Once you do that, it will automatically generate the calendar table for you guys, right? And that you need to connect with your date columns, right? Wherever in the factual table, you get those details, you just need to connect your date column with that date column in the table, right? So these are some of the things which either you can do it from here, like in the Power Query editor, if you have because there are lots of people who already posted some kind of blogs, right, where they have mentioned the M code for universal date table, right? You can do it from here, but I would advise you, if you are learning DAX, yeah, you are beginner, don't copy paste, right? Create your own date table. In that way, you will learn DAX. Okay, but you can also do you can also create your date table from here. I have shown you the way how you can do that. This is the same manage, delete, duplicate, reference, right? If you whatever table you have selected, you can click on delete, it will delete the table, duplicate the table, reference the table. So most of the things you will find repetitive over here, right? There are many ways to perform anything over here, right? Over here, like you can choose columns, go to column, right? You can choose between these columns, right? Go to the column if you want to go. What is choose columns is like, what all columns do you need to have in this particular report, you would say, in this particular table. So let's suppose I'll select choose column. I can select, like, I need row ID, I need row order ID, I need order date, ship date. Now what it will do, it will just have these 4 columns only, and it will remove the other columns, right? If I cross on this step got deleted. Now I have the complete table, right? So this is quite simple over here. Now remove columns. Now we have to define the columns which we want to remove from here, right? We can do from here, or else what we can do, we can click on shift key, right? We can right click over there, we can remove columns, remove other columns, right? That thing can also be done from here. There are various ways, right, to perform any step over here, like keep rows. If you want to keep top rows, if you just want to keep top 100 rows, 1000 rows, of if you just want to keep bottom rows only, keep ranges of rows. I want you guys to perform these steps at your end, right? These are too much simple. Like, you can try it. If you want to keep the duplicates, if you want to keep the errors, you can do that. Remove rows. Let's suppose there's some unwanted data in your first 1 or 2 rows, you can remove the top 2 rows. You can just mention, click over there, just give how many rows you want to remove from the top. You can do like that, right? If you want to remove the top 2 rows, it will remove the top 2 rows, right? This is just for sorting your particular column. If you want to sort it ascending, descending, you can do that. Split column. Let's suppose if you want to split the column, this is shift mode, you want to split it on the basis of any delimiter, number of character, number of position. You can do several things over here. Let's suppose there is hyphen over here, right? If you want to split by delimiter, you can give hyphen over there, so it will create multiple columns for the same, like ES2015 AA10. This would be in multiple columns there, right? Because if you want to extract some of the information from a particular column, you can do split column, number of character. If you want to give that I want to split my columns from 4 characters, then it will do like that. Like if you can give positions over here by lowercase to uppercase. Like these are the different options available for the splitting column. If you want to create if you want to basically group by your table, you can also do it from here. You can also do it from DAX as well with the logics. Like you want to group by this on the basis of ship date. If I selected multiple things over there, let me unselect this ship date first. Right, if I do group by now, it will group by my data, my particular data. You guys knows what is group by, right? What's the use of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Sorry,
everyone.
Dev, I'm not sure. Please explain, group.
So group by, do you know the term summarizing? If you are summarizing any particular data, let's suppose that data is on date level, right? The data is on transaction level, transaction by transaction, right? Date, your order ID, and these things. If I don't want, and let's suppose there are multiple orders in a single date, right? I don't want to see the data on date level. I want to see the data on order ID level, right? So what it will do, it will give me the data for a one order ID. If we have multiple you know uh, multiple orders on a single day, something like that, so it will club all those in just one, right? Summarize or group by, you can say. Does it make sense?
Oh, can you please process? I mean, do that. How to group in, for example, in this row ID, order ID.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Okay,
that.
let me keep it quite simple. uh, Let me do it with customer name.
Okay.
I don't know why we have just two customers over here. Maybe we have passed some filters, right? Let me move on to a different table. Sorted rows, filter rows. Okay, let me remove this step. Okay, what if this table is on row ID level, or you can say order ID level, right? Fine. What if I want to see the data on customer name? Like what is my sales on customer level, right? What I'll do, this is on order ID. A line, a row, a particular row represent particular information about a order, right? On the basis of order ID. What if I don't want to see that information on order? What I'll do, I'll simply select customer name. I click on group by, right? I click on count rows. I'll do sum. I want the sum of sales, right? I'll do one thing, sum sales. I need to give the column name sales column, right? What it will do, it will show me the sales customer wise. You can see this particular customer is having this much of sales. Customer this is having this much of sales, right? This is what it will do. If you want to, if you don't want to do analysis on that particular level, right? What it will do, it will also reduce your data set. However, this thing you can simply do in Power BI desktop. You can get the complete data as a data set over there, right? You can simply pull in a table, customer name, and the sum of sales measure, right? It will also give you the same result, right? But if there is no need to import the complete data into the Power BI desktop as a data set, you can simply summarize your table over here with the group by function, right? It will also give you the same result over there. Fine.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, what's next? And this is the data type of this particular column. You can select, there are different data type available: decimal number, fixed decimal number, whole number, percentage, date and time, date, time, date, time zone, duration, that is for time, text, true, false, binary. So these are some of the data type. You can also change it from here. You can change it from here based upon the data type which you want it to be, right? And for your date column, please make sure that you will select the date, date, time from here, right? If there is no need, first of all, let me give you advice over here. If there is no need, if you are not reporting on time basis, right? uh, because in time basis you basically report for some of your reporting, because if a client want you to report on time, then only enable date and time as go with date only, right? Because it will increase the processing of your report, right? That would impact performance if you do date and time rather than date. If there is a need, because if you, let's suppose you have to show something, because if I convert it on date and time, right, you will see 000000, right? Because this data is not supposed to be reported on date time format, right? But yes, there are some requirement where you have to do the reporting on time as well. Then in that case you should go with date time. You don't have any option, right? If there is an option, you don't need to report on time. Please make sure that you will convert, if that has been converted on date and time, convert it to date until and unless there is a requirement. Okay.
Okay.
And then use first row as header. So if you can see, there are some tables where the headers was not promoted. The first row was not promoted as header earlier, so I did it from my side, right? I don't remember the table name where I promoted the header, but I remember there was one table where it was not promoted as header, the first row, by default. So I have done it manually. So you can do it from there. Here, if you want to replace the values of a particular column, let's suppose replace your blanks with blanks with 0 or nulls with 0, you can do it from here. Select the column, value to find, replace with, just you do in Excel or any other tool, right? Merge queries, how many of guys know about merge queries and joins? What are joins?
Yes, sir. I know. Joins.
Everyone knows?
Yes, sir, I know.
Okay, so I'll give a brief today because our session is about, or we'll connect on this tomorrow. If you guys have any questions regarding today's session, you can ask, because we have to end it up.
Sir, in
Any questions
reference
from
and
anyone?
in duplicate, if we are duplicating any data table, so sir,
Mm-hmm.
that that table not updating automatically as we update our primary table in duplicate.
That is updating automatically. Like, what do you mean by updating? It will refresh, right? If until
Yeah.
and unless you have uncheck the right click, uncheck this particular option, it will refresh, right? But if you let's suppose there's a requirement to change some of the, let's suppose, customer ID, right?
Yes, sir.
Or let's suppose you have passed a parameter over here, right, on
Yes, sir.
region. If you are duplicating that, right, you change the parameter. If you are duplicating it, so it will copy the steps what you have taken over here, right, in the
Okay.
parameter, because you have passed the parameter over here in the new table as well. You pass the parameter based upon these steps, right? It will change. But let's suppose you haven't passed the parameter, you just simply filtered out the data for Northern Europe, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you are duplicating it, and let's suppose there is a requirement now, you have to see the data for Caribbean, you haven't passed any parameter, you are doing it manually for now, right? Then
Yes.
you have to change your the duplicate table, you have to also change the filter over there. But for in the case of reference table, you need not have to make any change, because what it will do, it will reference the final table after the final step and take the data from there. So if that would be at the final step as well, or in any of the steps in between those steps, the collection of steps, it would automatically be changed over there, because it is taking the data from the output of the table, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any
Understand.
other questions?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll consider. Yeah.
uh, can you please explain one more about group by? I'm not getting clearly.
Group by is quite simple. Like, let's suppose you have information at a very low level granularity, right? And if you don't want that much granularity, right, in your data, right, you can simply group by. Do you know SQL or any other programming language?
No.
Okay, let's suppose you have some data that is on you know you, right? Let's suppose in a particular table, right, there's one column called name, right, country and sales. Okay, in a particular country,
Okay.
right, there are two people, right, and sales. Okay, if I am on the first row, what I'll see data for a particular person to a country and then sales, right? If I select country, right, what I'll see data for all the people in a single country, right? Consider it as group by on country. So if I showing group by country sales, then what it is showing, it for a particular selected country, whatever in the context, right, it will sum up the sales for all the individual for that country and show me the sales. That is called group by. Does it make sense? It is quite simple. I
Okay.
don't know why you guys are not able to understand it. That is why I have just taken example of just one column and try to group by just on the basis of just one column, right? Else I can try for an example where I can group by with multiple columns. Keep it simple. Group by, what it will basically grouping by your sales. Let's suppose you have a data on very low granularity. What group by will do, group
Okay.
by will be able to help you to see the data on a higher level granularity.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, anyone else?
No, sir.
Okay, so I think that we can wrap up our session for today. And if you guys have any questions, we can discuss it tomorrow as well in the initial stage.
Okay, sir.
Okay, bye everyone.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.